Alright. So, senza manje, Physical Science, Paper 1, Common Test, March 2020 for grade 10. So, again, this paper is 1 hour and it carries amamagi awu 50. So, unikezwe isikhathi esi 1 hour. Ukuthi uthole amamagi amangaki awu 50. Okay. Let's turn around la. Now ama instructions about leli phepha leli izinto ozoyilandela. So instructions and information. Uthiwa lana, write your name in the appropriate spaces in the answer book. Which means kule answer book ozoyithola kuyenzeka ngezinye inkathi ke ungabi nayo esikoleni sakho bakunikeze u72 page, but wherever la uzobubhalela khona at the top ubhala igama lakho. Into abayishoyo la, you write your name in the appropriate spaces. You answer all the questions in the answer book. Okusho ukuthi le question paper le inama questions asithi mhlawumbe awu50, kumele waphendule awu50. If ewu3 kumele waphendule awu3, but wonke ama questions ala kuzomele waphendule kwi answer book yakho. This question consists of 5 questions. Awu5 ike la ama questions. Okusho ukuthi uma u5 uzowaphendula. Ayikho zoyishiya lento ukuthi nje physics kumele mawungayazi into shiya blank cha. You have to know everything. Number the answers correctly to the numbering system used in the question paper. For example, abanje lo question 1 senze 1.1. Awukwazi wena mase uyofaka i-answer la uthi 3.4. Uyayizwa into le kumele correspond 1.1 wala umbuzo uhambiselana no 1.1 we-answer ukuze phela ozokumakela bona uthi oh shuthi le answer ibhalile la yale question le kuhambiselana. Leave one line between 2 sub questions. For example, between question 2.1 and question 2.2. Okusho ukuthi mhlasimbe uzobhala uthi 2.1 yabo uchaza uzoshiya line owodwa la kuyima uthi 2.2 uphinde ubhala ungaveli ubhale khona la kumele ushiye line owodwa la angithi ku double page kusuke behlukaniselile vele o line, so uzokwazi ukwenza njani ukubhala. So and then number 6, you may use a non-programmable calculator. Yona impela lo onayo vele calculator esetshenziswa ezikoleni iCasio. You are advised to use the attached data sheets. Khona data sheets la ngemuva ephethe ama formula nansi. Inama formula and then nala phezulu inokhulu. Yabo? Izokusiza kakhulu uyisebenzisa. Show all formulae and substitutions of all calculations. Yonke into oyicabanga, yonke into oyibhalayo uyayibhala. Yonke into oyibhalayo uyayibhala. Ungeqobo. Round off all your answers to 2 decimal places. So ama answers zakho wa round off to 2 decimal places. Okusho ukuthi if you have something like 4,719 kanje, uzoyi round off i-answer yakho to 4,72. Lo 9 lo round up uzonyusa lo 1 abe u2. If you notice angisebenzisa equals to, ngisebenzisa into ekanje. Iqonda ukuthini lento? Iqonda ukuthi it is approximately the same. Uyayizwa into le ifana nokuthi iyalingana lento, but ayilingani. But ifana nokuthi iyalingana, which is why sisebenzise into ekanje. Alright. And then kuthiwe give brief motivations, discussions, etc. were required. Okusho ukuthi la kumele khona uchaze. Kwesinye isikhathi ngeke baze bakutshela ukuthi chaza, but if you feel the need to do so, ukwenze lokho. Awuvinje umuntu, ukwenze lokho. So page 2 lo okay, sesifundile ama instructions. So sesiya ku page 3. Page 3 uphethe yena ke u question 1. So ku question 1 iyona le multiple choice le ephambi kwakho. MCQ uyazi ke unikezwa statement, unikezwa ama list of 4 and then you have to choose le ekufanele or le efanele statement esiphezulu ehambiselana nayo. So kuthiwa lana the distance between any 2 consecutive points that are in phase is the period, wavelength, amplitude, frequency. So let's choose ke lapha ngithi. So buka lana. So la udwebela iwave ichaze lezi zinto so-form and then uzoyibonela ukuthi yona yiphi i-answer. Okay, naye wave la. And then kule wave le buka ke asiqaleni nge-period noma asiqale nje laphansi. Oh, it's fine. Siqale ngu-A. A period. Okay. Yini period? Period is a time taken. Is a time taken for two consecutive crests to pass a fixed point, or it is a time taken for the wave to travel one wave cycle. Yeah, izondele. Akusho ukuthi mase ngifake ipoint la mina. Elimile nje lingasuki. As the wave here on this direction. Yeah, so buka lana. Lama points la too, they are in phase. Uma ngithi they are in phase, what do I mean? They will reach the x-axis at the same time. There is a nalawa. They are in phase. Yeah, so lama point lawo mabili kuzothatha isikhathi singakanani ukuthi adlule leli point leli. Iyona in leyo i-free i-period yakho leyo. But bona bafunani? The distance between any two consecutive points. The distance ubude, which means i-period akuyona i-out. Let's go on to i-wavelength. E-wavelength, the definition of e-wavelength, it is the distance between two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs. Or it is the distance between any 2 points that are in phase. Make sure they are in phase. They will reach the equilibrium position or the rest position ngesikhathi esisodwa. So, it is the distance between those 2 points. Okusho ukuthi nansi la. Ukusuka la uze la. Yabo? Yile i-wavelength yethu. Ukusuka la uze la. Yile i-wavelength yethu. Yabo? Omunye angathi, what about if kukhona i-point ela nelila? Are those two in phase? Yes, they are in phase. Ngoba they will reach the rest position at the same time. So again, Nala, the distance between those 2 points is your wavelength, lambda. Yeah, so, but they want the distance between any 2 consecutive points that are in phase. So in there, wavelength. So far, let it right. Yeah, let's check again. The amplitude. Amplitude is the maximum displacement of the particles in a medium above its rest position. Okusho ukuthi ama particles kade ela ku rest position and mayidlula wave they were displaced. Okay. So ubude bokusukaphi? Ubude bokusuka la phezulu uzuyofika la phansi is your amplitude. Okusho ukuthi nala sinayo i-amplitude, nala sinayo i-amplitude, nala kanjalo. Uyabona? So i-amplitude, it is not the distance between any 2 consecutive points. It is the displacement of the particles of the medium. Okay, the maximum displacement. So you're wrong, amplitude. Frequency, it is the number, the measure of the number of the particles. It is the measure of the number of waves, not particles, of waves or pulses passing a fixed point per second. Ukuthi mangaki ama wave azodlula ipoint elilodwa ngesecond elilodwa. Yona in le frequency yakho. So frequency, it is not the distance between any 2 consecutive points. Okusho ukuthi frequency nayo is out. Yabo? So the only one that was correct was B, i-wavelength. Siyibhala kanjani i-answer yakho? Answer yakho uzobhala the question qala. It's 1.1. Question 1.1 lo angithi. And then yiphi answer ekhethile between A, B, C and D. You chose B. And then you are done. Once ubhale kanje, you get the full 2 marks lo order. So just by select or choosing the right term that goes with this definition. That's the question 1.2. Alright, so 1.2 still sisenza ini a multiple choice question. So a wave move past a fixed point at a speed of x meters per second. If the speed of the wave stays the same and the frequency of the wave doubles, then the wavelength of the wave will half A, double B, remain the same C, increase fourfold to D. So I guess so a wave moves past a fixed point. So le wave lidlula ipoint elimile elinganyakazi at a speed of x. Okay. If the speed remains the same, the speed siyafana. So remember, v is equal to f lambda. F is equal to v all over lambda. Lambda is equal to v all over f. And then go to if the speed remains the same and the frequency of the wave doubles, the frequency will double. Times 2. Then the wavelength of the wave will wavelength is if the frequency doubles. Alright, so what we can see from the wave equation, ukuthi frequency is inversely proportional to wavelength. So as you can see, frequency mayilai wavelength iba ngaphansi. Wavelength mayilai frequency iba ngaphansi. Very low phezulu is a constant, so it remains the same, angithi. So if they're inversely proportional, it means if oyedwa enyuka by a certain factor, lo munye uzokwehla by the certain factor as well. So bathini? Bathe ifrequency izodouble, so izomultiply ngo2. Therefore, i-wavelength, why am I writing weight? I-wavelength na izokwehla ngo2, but by opposite ka multiplication u-divide. Izodivideka ngo2 yona. Yiphi ke answer eqonde lo, which means remain the same already. We say out lo. Increase fourfold or out. W ngeke double out. Half. More divide ngo2 usuke ufuna half vele wayo inumber. So how do we write our final answer? So it's 1.2 and the answer is A. And then we are done. Sesutholile ubani? 1, 2 marks. Just by ukubona ukuthi frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional. So if the frequency doubles, that means the wavelength is halved. Ondenje lokho. Iyaphikisana lento. Iyaphikisana. So let's go on to the next question 1.3. Alright. Now umbuzo 1.3. Again, nala MCQ. Tiwanila. The diagram below represents two sound waves, A and B. Now, my sound waves also. They are sound waves, which means they are longitudinal waves, which means as the wave is propagating or is moving, medium yamoya, the particles of the air, the particles of the medium, vibrate parallel to the direction of the wave. Okay, now wave 9. Let's just take how many waves do we have? 1, 2. Nala 1, 2. But the only difference between le nale is the amplitude. Yabo? Imfishane la amplitude nale. Asengale na. Which one of the following combinations that compares the frequency and loudness of A and B is correct? So, A would see the frequency of A is greater than B, but the loudness of A is less than B. B would see the frequency of A is less than B, but the loudness of A is greater than B. C would see the frequency of A is the same as B, but the loudness of A is greater than B. D would see the frequency of A is the same as of B, but the loudness of A is less than of B. You're not right? So, as kumbuzisa, frequency idila na pitch yona ngithi, and abastela ngalutho nge-pitch la. But ke frequency can also be notified la by the number of waves. Angithi, there's two ways la. Angithi, if there was a point la, and there was a point la, uzodlula ama-waves awu-2 and then uzodlula ama-waves awu-2 in 1 second. So the frequency does not change. So the frequency is the same. The frequency of A is the same as the frequency of B. The frequency of A is the same as B. So it's either C or D, manji answer, because laba sibe out already. But is the loudness greater than B or less than B? The loudness corresponds with the amplitude. A wave with a larger amplitude has a louder sound, and a wave with a shorter or a smaller amplitude has a softer sound. So you're not right? A has a smaller amplitude than B. So A has less loudness than B. So the frequency of A is the same as the frequency of B, but the loudness of A is less than B. We should see the answer here is so by 1.3 nanti answer D, the same as B, less than B. D. And then lapha masufaka kanjalo, you would have gotten any 2 marks work. 1 2 marks work. One of just spotting the frequency would be the same, but since the amplitudes are not the same, the one which has amplitude engaphansi encane uyena ozobani loudness encane, lo one amplitude enkulu uyena ozoba nomsindo omkhulu. Iyazisho nje lento. So copy this question down manganayo. If unganayo the question paper, you have a right to request it. Send a message usicela sizokwazi ukuthi sikunikeze le question paper ozokwazi ukuyisebenzisa masuzama phela ukuyiphendulela ngokwakho. Asidluleni phambili. Alright, so 1.4 still the MCQ. There's the last question, go question 1. Doctors use certain equipment to check on the health of unborn babies. Ama X-rays, ama radio waves, ama ultrasound, ama microwaves. This equipment uses the equipment is 77. So, buka. Odokotela kunomshini abawusebenzisayo ukuze bakwazi ukuchecka ingane ngaphakathi eswini samama ukuthi i-health yini, isesimeni right yini. Lo mshini lowo usebenzisana, what type of radiation? Usebenzisa ama X-ray, ama radio waves, ultrasound, ama microwaves. So ama radio waves radio waves are used in ama televisions, cell phones, and even in radio. They can broadcast indawo enkulu kakhulu, mainly because they have very large wavelengths, because they have the shortest or the lowest frequency. So A or B njalo off ama radio waves. X-rays yazi mawuphukile or mawunenkinga with ama bones babhekana basebenzisana i-X-ray. So i-X-ray abayisebenzisa eswini samama ukuze ba-check ingane cha. Nayo out. Microwaves. Ama microwaves are used in the microwave oven. Leyano uyayijwayele vele uyaziyo. ayasetshenziswa ukubona ingane ngaphakathi angithi. But they use what? Ultrasound. Sounds that are higher than 20 kilohertz. Sounds that are not, sounds with higher frequency than 20 hertz. Sounds that are not audible to the human ear. Okusho ukuthi wena as umuntu awukwazi ukwezwa loma sounds. Why? They have a frequency so high, it is above your range. There isn't it? So our answer for 1.4 is C. Yabo? And uyazi ukuthi usutholile 2 marks. Kanjalo. Yabo? And then we are done with the multiple choice, man. We are done with the multiple choice. We are going to question 2. Remember, this question is 50 marks. You have 1 hour. We're going to question 2. All my questions are 5. We've completed the first one, 6 4. I'll send question 2.